My friends, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for stopping by. You've clicked this video because there are thousands of other videos out there, but something here brought you, and I appreciate you stopping by for our Long Song Saturday, even though for myself it's Monday. But it's going to be Long Song Saturday for this particular video, and what are we listening to? We are embarking on the journey that is The Stranger, Billy Joel, his fifth studio album, released in 1977. A few people have mentioned this album, though not an overwhelming amount, but at least recommended or suggested or just made mention of. These are some of those who have made mention of it. Kevin Stryker, I see you here. Andrew Olette, I believe that's how you pronounce your name as well. Bob Holtzman, I see you've mentioned this. Stephen Pesta, Rob Gray, Jerome Dukes, I think that you mentioned this one as well. So thank you guys for suggesting it. Truth is, I wanted to listen to this album anyway. So I am not familiar with Billy Joel besides Piano Man. As far as I know, that is the only song that I know from Mr. Joel. I don't know how that song stacks up to the rest of his discography, the rest of his songs. I don't know if that's representative of his sound or perhaps just a period. Don't know. But for now, what we're doing is exploring this period. So hope that you guys are here for it. I have a freshly brewed cup of some iced coffee. I think this one was like I think I chose like a caramel pecan or something. I can't remember. It's some flavor my wife got me, but it's pretty nice. So hope that you guys are ready, settled in to listen to the music. Hope that you enjoy the journey with me. Press that like button before we get started. You might as well just get it out the way. Of course, you're more than welcome to follow me over on Twitter, support the channel on Patreon, as well as it helps me with what I do here. But for the moment, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the first track here, which is going to be Moving Out, Anthony's song. Let's dive on in. Oh, shit.
Is that all you get for your money?
Dude, this is great. This is a great song. That's so fun. His little stutter on the end. The question and then the answer. I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of a wager. This is going to be a great album to listen to. Off of the first song, oh, I love how catchy that thing is. That thing is memorable. Just the melodies, the swing of it all. I'm moving out. And then dun 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 dun. The horns that come in right after. The little bit of stuttering that he puts on some of the lines there in the verse. Like, there's so many little memorable moments in this track, and all of it is wrapped up in this melodious, grooving, pop rock kind of track with some strong piano, great guitar lines. That's fun. That's a good song. And that's just opening up the album. I hope that this isn't one of those albums where, like, the best song is put in the front, because this thing's front loaded with just that first track. That was great. Looking at some of the lyrics on this one. Anthony works in the grocery store, saving his pennies for someday. Mama Leone left a note on the door. She said, "Sonny, move out of the country," or move out to the country. But working too hard can give you a heart attack. Little Mars attack thing there. You ought to know by now. You ought to know by now. Who needs a house out in Hackensack? Is that all you get for your money? So basically, just putting in the 9 to 5, putting in the 40 plus, doing the overtime, doing all the work, and it's not adding up and amounting to anything, just can't quite make it. And it seems such a waste of time if that's what it's all about. Mama, if that's moving up, then I'm moving out. If that's moving up in the world, then I want no part of that, and I'm going to go find my own way. You can find your own way. Sergeant O'Leary is walking the beat. At night, he becomes a bartender. So he has to work 2 jobs. Even the cop. He works at Mr. Cacciatore's down on Sullivan Street, across from the medical center. Yeah, and he's trading in his Chevy for a Cadillac. No, so it's just putting a magnifying glass on all these different people and all these different situations, and I'm sure some of us can relate, in which you're working, and it's just not adding up to the sum that you would exactly want it to. You should never argue with a crazy mind. You ought to know by now. You can pay Uncle Sam with the overtime. Is that all you get for your money? That's good. That's good. Looking at this particular track, it says that the track details the singer's disgust with the upwardly mobile bourgeois aspirations of working and lower middle class New Yorkers who take pride in working long hours to afford the outward signs of having made it. As you know, yeah, I got the nice car, I got the nice house, but what did you sacrifice to get it? Why did I say that with an accent? I said sacrifice. It says that, let's see, did this chart at all? Doesn't seem so. No, I was surprised because I don't know. This seems like a song that would like hit, but it doesn't look like it. It does seem that, is there a Broadway musical on this thing? The Twyla Tharp Broadway dance musical Movin' Out features the songs of Billy Joel. Opened at the Richard Rodgers Theater in New York City in 2002. Played 1,300 times before closing in 2005. That's kind of cool. So, I don't know about this. Is like that musical? Did they just take this song and use it in there? Or is this whole album like a musical? I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track, though, before we get too lost in the sauce here. And that's going to be the title track, The Stranger. That was a great first track. Let's move on. Got some jazzy whistles now. Where'd you guys come from?
Y'all fall in love, but we disregard the danger. Don't be afraid to try
Open something for this?
Everyone goes
Back to the lounge whistling. Okay, listen. Let's break the fourth wall for just a moment, all right? You and me, it's just us here in the room. So, obviously, a lot of my audience, probably for most reaction videos, right? You click on the reaction video because you would like to see someone's first impressions of a song or an album, in this case, that you love. You want to hear and see someone else's thoughts, of course, their initial reactions. Maybe even bring to mind some of the nostalgic feelings that you have for the first time you listen to the album or song for the first time. So let me explain where my mind's at right now. This is incredible. I'm looking so forward to the rest of this album off the strength of these past two tracks. I'm excited. I'm in that excited mood. You know what I mean? Like, think about the first time you listened to a certain artist that down the line you fell in love with, you know? Like, I'm hearing the first two tracks here and I'm just like, wow, this is like really, really great music, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I love the opening and closing loungy piano accompanied by some kind of, to me, spaghetti western whistling that just kind of brings to mind that, like, that kind of scene, right? And I would even argue, like, The Stranger, the song title and the album title, for me, calls to mind The Man of No Name, Clint Eastwood, and him being the stranger. Sometimes what was that movie? Wasn't there a movie where he was basically deaf? It's a cowboy movie with Clint Eastwood. Was Pale Rider. Nah, I gotcha before you could type it. Pale Rider. That's what it makes me think of, like, the stranger. Who is he? What is he? Here, it's more of an internal stranger, but it kind of brings to the same mind some unknown force that causes a change in some capacity. Getting back to the music, though. I love the slightly funk-adjacent setup we have here. Rhythm guitar just chopping up that lettuce. The bass putting it down. On this particular track, the bass, hold on, it's going to be played by Doug Stegmeyer. I've never heard of him, but looking at some of the information here, he is also known as performing with Hall & Oates here. He's worked with, of course, Billy Joel, Phoebe Snow, Melanie, Hall & Oates, and Debbie Gibson. Haven't heard of most of those other people. But either way, his bass line, popping, just wonderfully popping in there. Of course, Billy Joel himself, his piano sounds absolutely gorgeous, especially in those opening and closing sections. But even throughout, it's just a very nice accompaniment to his voice. He has this nice, like, poppy, powerful. He can kind of go in different directions. He can go into a more rock voice, I'm sure. He can sing a little bit more jazzy, more subtle. He can push it. You know, he has a lot of character in his voice, and I think he makes the point come across quite well in his delivery. Let's kind of go into the lyrics here on this one. Well, we all have a face that we hide away forever, and when we take them out and show ourselves when everyone has gone. Some are satin, some are steel, some are silk, and some are leather. They're the phases of a stranger, but we'd love to try them on. So we put on different personalities for different people, for different audiences and different surroundings. For example, here on camera when I'm doing the reaction videos, I'm a little louder than I typically am. But at the same time, I'm a little calmer in other ways than I typically am. But as soon as I'm out the door, of course, with my wife, I'm going to be as close to my true self as I can be because it's my wife. That's who I'm vulnerable with and open with. And then, you know, you go to work, you're a certain way. You're going, I don't know, on a first date, you're a certain way. There's all these different faces. But perhaps what he's saying is the stranger is the true self inside of us, taking off all of the mask and just revealing ourselves. But they're a stranger because do we even know who that inner person is? Well, we all fall in love, but we disregard the danger. Though we share so many secrets, there are some we never tell. Why were you so surprised that you never saw the stranger? Did you ever let your lover see the stranger in yourself? Ah, I like that. Did you ever show that stranger to whoever the closest person to you is, here a lover? Did you show that inner person to them? Even if you did, didn't you hold something back? Ah, don't be afraid to try again. Everyone goes south every now and then. You've done it. Why can't someone else? You should know by now you've been there yourself. So before you know, let's just say, for example, you know, argue with, you know, your partner or whoever, like, hey, you weren't even your true self around me. Turn the mirror upside down, flip it around. Were you your true self to them? Did you open yourself up the same way that you wanted them to open yourself up? Once I used to believe I was such a great romancer, then I came home to a woman that I could not recognize. When I pressed her for a reason, she refused to even answer. It was then I felt the stranger kick me right between the eyes. He felt her stranger, and this is so good. This is so good. How do we end this? You may never understand how the stranger is inspired, but he isn't always evil, and he is not always wrong. Though you drown in good intentions, you will never quench the fire. You'll give into your desire when the stranger comes along. I was choking on the last line. I was running out of breath on the last line. That's great. This is a great track here. Let's see if there's any information on this particular one here. That was really good. Says that this song was released in Japan, where it became very popular, peaking at number 2. It was the last single from the album in Japan, while the US and UK saw She's Always a Woman, released the previous year as the single from that album. So the album had different singles resonate in different audiences and different places here. Yeah, that's going to be it for this one. That's it. And actually, before I move forward, I was wrong in one of my pieces of information. So the previous song, While Moving Out, it did actually chart. Hold on, because I found it here. It was, hold on. Peaked at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100, it looks like. So, all right, so the previous song did chart. Did this one as well? I don't know. It seems like, I mean, all these songs so far could chart. Doesn't seem so. But it says that the album did spend 17 weeks in different positions on the top 10 albums. So it stayed up there at least. Hey, you know what time it is. Moving on to the next track, which is going to be Just the Way You Are. All right. I don't think this is the same song, but is this I love you just the way you are? I don't think so. I don't know. Let's find out. It is! I didn't know this song was Billy Joel. Yeah. Dude.
Times of trouble.
Oh, this is a jam. Yeah. Don't slow dance me to this. Come on. I'm in a fantastic mood, okay? I'm in, man, this has put me in this is the right headspace. This is the right time. This is the right place. So, listen, you're here. Come on the journey with me. Take a trip back with me for just a moment, okay? I mention it occasionally, and we're going to mention it again for this song. So I do know this song. If you didn't catch it from when it first started, I know this track, okay? This takes JP back to whenever he was, I don't know, a child, okay? I mention it sometimes, but you got to come back with it one more time. This is exactly the type of music that I would listen to sitting in the back seat of my mom's car, my dad's car, driving somewhere. This is part of the soundtrack of my childhood. Even this particular track. I had no idea that this was Billy Joel. To be honest, I never really thought about who it could be. I don't know, maybe I thought it was Grover Washington Jr. I don't know. I just thought it was someone else, right? But this type of music, I grew up in a decent amount of my life listening to like smooth jazz and R&B, soul music, like that kind of sound, even new age at certain moments, like, and this is the type of sound that I listen to a lot in the car from my parents. And so not only this song do I already know and already have a nostalgia with, but just the sound in general. Like, this takes me back a certain way. So I love this track. Okay, so Billy Joel, because like I said, I had no idea it was him. His singing, oh, it's so impassioned. It's a very romantic song. I love the guitar strumming along, the slightly sparse drum beat that still allows a certain kind of movement, a relaxed but intended movement, I would say. But it all moves with this sort of steady swagger. There's a saunter to this music, and the way it walks up to you, invites you over for a drink. That's what this song makes me think of. I'm loving it, though. The saxophone, of course, that accents those ending lines in the chorus, and the way that after the chorus, I love you just the way you are, and then da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, and the little saxophone hits that come up after that, of course, eventually leading way to a solo. The saxophone on here is going to be played by Phil Woods, an American jazz saxophonist, clarinetist, band leader, and composer. Who has he worked with? Well, let me tell you some of the names. Maybe some of them I recognize. So far as I'm going through, recognize none of them. Actually, but he's played with a lot of people. Dizzy Gillespie, okay, or I know that. Quincy Jones, okay. Thelonious Monk, okay. Steely Dan, I see your name. Paul Simon, I see your name. Joe Newman, Billy Joel, of course. He's worked with a lot of people. Bill Evans even there. Yeah, so he has a wide, what's the word? Feature list. He's been with a lot of people, and it sounds fantastic here. Love the way it plays. Billy Joel playing the Fender Rhodes there with those nice, calming, atmospheric vibes. It's just floaty, romantic. This is a song that I'm sure a lot of people have sung to someone else at a wedding of some sort. Don't go changing to try and please me. You never let me down before. First two lines. Don't ever worry about changing. You've never let me down before. I love who you are, and I love you just the way you are. I don't imagine you're too familiar, and I don't see you anymore. I would not leave you in times of trouble. We never could have come this far. I took the good times. I take the bad times. I'll take you just the way you are. Don't worry about the past and the issues that we may have come through or from. Take the good with the bad. Those issues never bothered me before. I love you just the way you are. Come on now. Don't go trying some new fashion. Don't change the color of your hair. You always have my unspoken passion, although I might not seem to care. You don't have to worry about changing yourself. I love you just the way you are. However, there's one line here I take issue with. You always have my unspoken passion. Listen, number one thing you need in a partnership, in a romance, a marriage, communication. Don't let that passion be unspoken. You better speak your passion. I don't want clever conversation. I never want to work that hard. I just want someone I can talk to. I want you just the way you are. So, of course, it's a very beautiful song here. It says that it was released as the album's lead single, and it became Joel's first U.S. top 10 and top 20 in the U.K. single, reaching number 3 in the U.S. and 19 in the U.K. there. And it also became Joel's first gold single, winning 2 Grammy Awards for Record of the Year and Song of the Year in 1979. So definitely achieved some accolades, and I would say quite warranted. Let's move on into the next track here. Hold on. Which is going to be Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, which just makes me think, to be honest, it makes me think of Goodfellas. Which isn't Goodfellas one of those movies where, like, yeah, it's long and yeah, it's kind of serious, but anytime it comes on, like if you're just scrolling down on TV and you come across TBS and Goodfellas is playing, you're going to watch it, you know? Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go.
Get a table. Waits.
That is the first side, right? That is the first side of the album. This is going to be one of those albums. Oh, I love this multi-part story that could have just been like a typical straightforward love story kind of song. You know, these scenes from an Italian restaurant, picking up the pieces, you know, loving each other. But it takes a little bit of a different direction. It takes a bit of diversion, not only like story wise, but even musically. It takes a complete left turn. At first, we're introduced with really beautiful piano, which, by the way, I really love Billy's piano playing. Like, absolutely wonderful. And tender singing there in the beginning, describing the romance of this Italian restaurant. There's even some accordion, some laid back, sensual accordion just kind of hovering in the back, wafting in that beautiful air, right? And like I said, he's describing the Italian restaurant, and you know, this is like our place. And you know, like when you're in a relationship, you guys typically have like a place that's yours. And he's talking about the scenes from this restaurant, right? And then the music takes a complete left turn. A complete left turn and goes into almost this jazzy-ish pop rock track, much more up-tempo, guitar and bass flying around, saxophone coming in like a seagull for your fries, and even the story changes at that point. Now we have two timelines: the first-person narrative, as in the beginning and the end, and now switching to this flashback and talking about what it sounds like is like these two high school sweethearts, and you know. What have you heard about them? Well, you know how you have a little bit of cheese may and some tea for other people. Like this is the tea for this couple. Who was it? Brenda and Alan. Who was it? Who was it again? Brenda and Eddie. Who's Alan? But yeah, like I just think that that's really cool, the way of like splitting these timelines. Like you have one event in the first person, like the current, and then you have this kind of going back and talking about these other people and kind of making a correlation and a comparison between the two. That is really cool. Let's go over some of these lyrics, though. So, a bottle of white, a bottle of red, perhaps a bottle of rosé instead. We'll get a table near the street in our old familiar place. You and I, face to face. Depends upon your appetite. I'll meet you anytime you want in our Italian restaurant. So, now, even without going further on, this could be a relationship that is good, solid. They're just going on a date. Or maybe there was some breaking up. Maybe there was some wanting to reconnect with old friends. And maybe this is what that is. Because it does say, like I said, our Italian restaurant. It's not the Italian restaurant. There's a past there. There's a history there. Can I tell you, just because it's the name of the song, my wife and I'm taking my wife out on a date this Friday to an Italian restaurant here. And we're really excited. As of right now, like the time I'm recording this video, it's going to be on Friday, like later this week. Obviously, by the time this video comes out, the date will have already been had. But I'm probably going to edit the video before we go on the date, so I won't have any pictures to put up here for you guys, but I'm just... Things are okay with me these days. Got a good job. I got a good office. Okay, so there is no current relationship, because otherwise he wouldn't be saying, you know, this. I got a new wife, got a new life. Oh, you got a new wife, so why are you talking to this person? And the family is fine. Oh, lost touch long ago. You lost weight. I did not know you could ever look so nice after so much time. You don't say you got a new wife and you got a new life and then no, you cut that. You don't need to be talking to this past person. You don't need to reconnect. I don't think that this is platonic. This isn't platonic reconnection. Do you remember those days hanging out at the Village Green, engineer boots, leather jackets, and tight blue jeans? You drop a dime in the box, play a song about New Orleans, cold beer, hot nights, sweet, romantic teenage nights. You better block her. Your new wife about to become your ex-wife. And then this is when the change happens. This is when we go back in that nostalgic trip and the music really kind of goes back to those hot, sizzling teenage nights, like you said. Which I like this kind of like rose-tinted glasses when looking back. You know, when you have nostalgia for something, typically it's a good thing. But you know, like you're a little bit, what's the word? Not jaded. You're looking back with nostalgia at an event, and you're looking back at it like purely from now, like, and you're seeing it as a positive and good thing, which it probably was. But there's always those little things that you kind of filter out because you're looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. And with that, they're musically doing that with all the upbeat and up-tempo music, kind of providing this big party, fun atmosphere. You have the trumpets and tubas and stuff that come marching into. Almost like they're on a date at a fair or something like that. Anyways, Brenda and Eddie were the popular steadies and the king and the queen of the prom, riding around with the car top down and the radio on. Never looked any finer. Anyways, everyone's saying that, like, oh, Brenda and Eddie, they'll be together forever. They love each other forever. They'll be good. And then this is how it goes. Brenda and Eddie were still going steady in the summer of '75 when they decided their marriage should be at the end of July. Look at that. They're getting together. They're doing it. Everyone said they were crazy. Brenda, you know that you're much too lazy, and Eddie could never afford to live that kind of life. But what did they do? They went and did it anyway. How did it turn out for them? Well, they got an apartment with deep piled carpets and a couple of paintings from Sears, a big waterbed that they bought with their bread that they saved for a couple of years. They started to fight when the money got tight, and they just didn't count on the tears. Well, they lived for a while in a very nice style, but it always the same in the end. They got a divorce as a matter of course, and they parted the closest of friends. Then the king and queen went back to the green, but you can never go back there again. So, didn't quite work out there in the end. Says that they couldn't go back to the greasers. The best they could do was pick up their pieces. We always knew they would both find a way to get by. And that's all I heard about Brenda and Eddie. So I like this kind of gossipy, like I said, talking about, oh, I wonder what ever happened to Brenda and Eddie. Well, last I heard, blah, 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 blah. So I like this kind of sequence of events, and like I said, this kind of different timelines with perspectives. Before ending, of course, going back to bottle of red, bottle of white, whatever kind of mood you're in tonight, I'll meet you anytime in our Italian restaurant. So I just like the way that those two perspectives were kind of brought together. It kind of provides a full-fledged, not only song, just musically, but also, of course, lyrically. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on, I guess, technically to the second side of the album. Finishing this first side. That was a really, really strong first showing there. And before we go on, because I like to do this, I like to see who's watching at this point. I don't know how long it's been. Maybe, actually, I have no idea, actually. But speaking of scenes from an Italian restaurant, what's your favorite mafia movie? Or TV show. Maybe you like Sopranos. I've never seen it, even though I really want to. I've heard a lot of good things. I've never seen Sopranos. But Goodfellas? Or your favorite gangster movie. I'm Scarface. Never seen it. Like, any of those? Put those down in the comments down below. Whatever your favorite one may be. Anyways, let's move on. Oh, you know what other movie I like? The Valentine's Day Massacre. Like the old one. I don't know when the movie was made, but it's definitely slightly older. I thought that was a good movie. Let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be Oh, Vienna. That one I do know. Let's go.
But then if you're so smart, tell me why are you still so afraid? Can't be everything you wanna be before your time, although it's so romantic on the borderline tonight. Vienna
I love that little piano tickle before the ending of the chorus. There's your accordion again.
Vienna waits for you.
I love that little snare shot, sparking this little piano. Billy Joel does a fantastic job of creating music that perfectly sounds like whatever he's singing and the message that he's delivering about. Like, obviously a lot of artists do, but I'm just noticing a very, very strong songwriting element listening to this album so far. Listening to the way that, yes, he vocally and verbally describes certain feelings, describes certain stories and emotions, but the way that the music kind of really captures that as well. I have two theories on what Vienna is about. We'll dive into that a little bit later, but there's this sense of wanting to make sure that whoever you're talking to, you want the best for them. There's this emotion of experience trying to teach perhaps the inexperienced, perhaps trying to teach the youthful, the naive, trying to give them some tips for life and dealing with such. And I think that the music perfectly captures that big emotional touch. Obviously his piano playing, love that. The way that the instruments came in, like with the drums coming in, those strings, the piano tickle before in the way that the last line of the chorus ends. It's these little moments and these little sparks that there are just packed ton in the music that we're hearing that really makes it all stand out so well. This is the 5th song on the album, and I'm just telling you so far, we've hit 5 for 5. These are all incredible pieces of music, I feel. Slow down, you crazy child, you're so ambitious for a juvenile. But then, if you're so smart, tell me why are you still afraid? Where's the fire? What's the hurry about? You better cool it off before you burn out. You've got so much to do and only so many hours in a day. So I feel like there's a lot of ways you can take this, and we'll look and see like who he's actually talking about or what he's talking about. But it sounds like a father talking to a child and say, you know, you're trying to grow up too fast. You know, when you're a kid, you want to grow up as fast as you can. And then as you get older, you kind of want to slow that down. You want to pull that handbrake. But like he's saying, like, you know, you're going too fast. Where's the fire? Where's the hurry? Why you do? You know, calm down. Calm down. Life is going to come. Time's going to pass. Enjoy it while it lasts. Don't rush so quickly through it. You're going to You're going to burn brightly, but burn out. But you know that when the truth is told, that you can get what you want, or you can just get old. You're going to kick off before you even get halfway through. When will you realize Vienna waits for you? So he's saying, like, if you keep on concentrating on this fast life or whatever it may be, before you know it, your life's going to be over and you never really enjoyed it. So I think he's saying, like, slow down a little bit, enjoy it. When will you realize Vienna waits for you? Not really quite sure what that means, but I'm thinking Vienna being like representative of a place that your dreams maybe come true, in a sense, a place where you can finally relax. I think that's what it's representing, like a final home, but in a very positive kind of way, like your an end goal. Slow down, you're doing fine. You can't be everything you want to be before your time. Although it's so romantic on the borderline tonight, too bad it's the life you lead. You're so ahead of yourself and you forgot what you need. Though you can see when you're wrong, you know that you can't always see when you're right. You're right. That's really good. That's really, really good. Slow down, you crazy child, and take the phone off the hook and disappear for a while. It's all right. You can afford to lose a day or two. When will you realize Vienna waits for you? That is so good. Like, it's okay to disconnect. Like, okay, this is even something I have to think about, right? Because, for example, like, I work already, you know, I work my normal full-time job here. I put a lot of effort into my channel. I'm kind of fourth wall breaking. I put a lot of work and effort into my channel. In my mind, I'm always mentally thinking, okay, when am I going to record next? How long am I going to record? What songs am I going to do? Do people want these songs? Oh, I should finish this. I'm kind of always rotating. Even with this channel, I have to pull myself back sometimes and say, like, it's okay to take a day off. It's okay to not record or not edit for a day. And I've been getting a little bit better with that, but for example, I record no matter what every weekend. I'm going to record something. Otherwise, internally, I feel like it's a waste of time. But there's been a few weekends when I really don't feel like recording. And I have to tell myself mentally, like, hey, you don't have to record. It's fine. Like, you don't have to. So I totally understand that sentiment. And that's just like me relating it to myself a little bit. Let's see if there's some extra information on this track. It looks like there is a Wikipedia article for this one. It says that the song's popularity has grown considerably in decades after its release, becoming one of Joel's most streamed songs on Spotify as of 2002. It says lyrically, Joel was inspired by visiting the city of Vienna and his father, who left the family when Joel was a child. Joel has stated that Vienna is a metaphor for old age, but also may have been subconsciously about his father. He said that it conveys you don't have to squeeze your whole life into your 20s and 30s trying to make it, trying to achieve the American dream, getting in that rat race and killing yourself. You have a whole life to live. He says, we treat old people in this country pretty badly. We put them in rest homes, we kind of kick them under the rug and make them believe they don't exist. They, the people in Vienna, don't feel like that. In a lot of these older places in the world, they value their older people, and their older people feel they can still be part of the community, and I thought this is a terrific idea. Which, that is so 110% true. I really love seeing countries especially, or communities in general, that take it upon themselves to still give value and care to the older generations with all their experience, knowledge, and I mean, a lot of my viewers here, with all the experience and knowledge that you guys have musically here, it brings to light so many things for me personally. So I love when I see, you know, like I said, communities and places and stuff, not kicking people to the road and stuff like that, not saying, hey, we're done with you, because that is, I almost said that's so rude. Like, yeah, it's beyond that. so inconsiderate and disrespectful of the people that have helped to build and establish the community that you have and the things you have in the first place. Like that's a great message there. Really fantastic message. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track, which is Only the Good Die Young. We're switching, feeling so quick there. All right, let me go ahead and pull up the song, and we will give it a listen. Here we go.
Comes down to fate, I
I like that little pop on the drums, and then the organ coming in to push that momentum.
You got a brand new soul, and a cross of gold. Only the good die young. Only the good.
This is such a fun album to listen to. This is definitely the fun track. This is the, come out here. This is your friend knocking on the door saying, come outside. We're going to go have fun. We're going to go party. You don't know where they're taking you, but they're taking you somewhere, and you're going to have a great time. I love the little space in the hits, Love those hits, the little space, because it gives you that little bit of anticipation, like, oh, here it comes. And then when that drop happens, come back for it. I love how youthful and party Billy Joel's singing here, his delivery, obviously lyrically, but he's saying like just get out here and party, have a great time. I think it's hilarious that specifically, he's mentioning like Catholic girls and stuff, and then of course the like religious side of it, but then he brings in the organ as well in this track, which we've heard before, but in the capacity here according to like the lyrics and everything, it's kind of funny, like you can have that, but like come out and party with us too. This is such a fun album to listen to. So many different feelings on this one. Come out, Virginia, don't let me wait. You Catholic girls start much too late, but sooner or later it comes down to fate. I might as well be the one. Don't know what he's talking about. Well, they showed you a statue, told you to pray. They built you a temple and locked you away, but they never told you the price that you pay for things that you might have done. Only the good die young. I love the transfer into the chorus as well. You might have heard I run with a dangerous crowd. We ain't too pretty, we ain't too proud. We might be laughing a bit too loud, but that never hurt no one. So it's like your parents probably told you all it's bad to be around. You're gonna get a reputation if you hang around me. He's like, it ain't too bad. We don't hurt anyone. We're just having fun. We might laugh a little bit too loud, but come on. This is a great line though. This is good. So come on, Virginia, show me a sign, send up a signal, I'll throw you a line. The stained glass curtain you're hiding behind never lets in the sun. What a great line that is. Locked and hidden away behind the nunnery, or just behind like religious dogma in general. He's like, just enjoy your life a little bit. They never tell you the good die young. Like, come on, while you're young, come out and hang out with us. You got a nice white dress and a party on your confirmation. You got a brand new soul and a cross of gold. But Virginia, they didn't give you quite enough information. You didn't count on me when you're counting on your rosary. So I like the message of the song, but I think he's also saying like, you can do that. That's fine. We're not here to judge you. But at the same time, like, don't throw away your life. Like, come hang out with us a little bit. It says that this particular track, let's see. The song was inspired by a high school love interest of Joel's, Virginia Callahan. The boy narrator believes that the girl is refusing him because she comes from a religious Catholic family and she believes premarital sex to be sinful, as you obviously sung. Attempts to censor the song only made it more popular after religious groups considered it anti-Catholic and pressured radio stations to remove it from their playlist. It says from Joel himself, when I wrote this track, the point of the song wasn't so much anti-Catholic as pro-lust. The minute they banned it, the album started shooting up the charts. That's how a plan backfires, right? That's like the perfect way for a plan to backfire when it gives you some positive attention. It says that this is described as one of Joel's strongest and catchiest songs. Grabs the fun with a rollicking, hand-clapping beat, raspy sax solo, and racy piano licks. Now, this is a great little fun track. Let's move on into the next one here, which is She's Always a Woman. Let's dive on in.
It's free. Yeah, she steals like a thief, but she's always a woman to me.
That bass sounds really nice, huh? I love how this song took a little bit more of like a folky kind of approach, of course, and it's like slow, melodic, and fireside kind of low down talking and speaking, and still holding that romantic ideal that like when you look at someone that you love and you just can't help but look at them and admire them. You're getting the same sense here listening to him singing about whoever his subject is. I love the guitar playing in here, just sparking up a beautiful, beautiful, picturesque kind of mood there. The bass sounds really nice in there. Like musically, it's definitely a little bit more simple from the previous tracks, and that's what I think is kind of needed, like a little bit of an emotional and musical dip right here. This is like just that calming, like I said, sitting next to the fire, playing guitar and looking into your loved one's eyes. That's what this track feels to me. I love how he's singing in here. I love the little bits of strings that come in as well, just to slightly lighten up your lover's face, I guess you could say, and then it kind of flickers away as well. Looking at the song here, I think that he's basically saying like, this person, you can say this and that about them, and may they be perfect? Maybe not. But they're always the one who I love and I care for. She can kill with a smile. She can wound with her eyes. She can ruin your faith with her casual lies. And she only reveals what she wants you to see. She hides like a child, but she's a woman to me. She can lead you to love. She can take you or leave you. She can ask for the truth, but she'll never believe you. And she'll take what you give her as long as it's free. Yeah, she steals like a thief, but she's always a woman to me. So this person, for all the perhaps negative press that they have, or they may gain, whether it's true or not, no matter what, it's always someone that he's going to care for, basically. She'll promise you more than the Garden of Eden. Then she'll carelessly cut you and laugh while you're bleeding. But she'll bring out the best and the worst you can be. Blame it all on yourself because she's a woman to me. So like I said, I think that this is talking about like a romantic partner, but it could also just be a friend. It could be a relative. It could be just about someone who you defend to the ends of the earth, even if other people perhaps don't see all the positives that you do in them. Let's go. Oh, actually, before we move on, it says that this track, it's peaked at number 17 in the US and 53 in the UK when it was re-released with Just the Way You Are as a double A-side album. Okay. I forgot to mention this. I was going to mention that the song had this kind of waltzy vibe because of the swing. Dun, 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 dun. And then it does say here the song is played in time signature of 6/8. So, yeah, close enough. Let's move on into the next track here, which is Get It Right the First Time. Not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth. The first time. Let's go. That's snappy, huh? Snappy with it.
I don't believe in first impressions. Just this once, I hope that looks don't deceive. La 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 la. La 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 la. Get it right the next time, that's not the same thing. Oh, gonna make a first time late.
That's fantastic. Doesn't the guitar playing right here at the end sound like Morse code? To me, it sounds like Morse code at the end, the way that was playing. Like the beep, 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 beep. Anyways, once again, brilliant track. That chorus is a huge standout. The way it moves from its kind of piano-led pop rock standard, right? The way it moves into the chorus there, drumming is off the charts with Liberty DeVito on the drums. This is where Liberty really gets to stand out a little bit. The verse is powerful. There's a lot of diversity in the sound. You have some extra percussion that's brought in as well from Ralph McDonald. But the move into the chorus, which kind of brings about this kind of Coco Cabana. What was that the first thing I thought of? Like this loungy, Latin-inspired groove there, with the percussion really coming in hot on the second part when those hi-hats open up, and then when Joel goes into his la 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 la, he goes the la's and then he goes the lows. He does a little of everything there. Can I tell you, when it moved into that particular section, you know what other artists I thought of listening to them? Like, I don't think they sound really similar, but there are kind of some similarities in the way that they sound sometimes. Stevie Wonder. I kind of thought of Stevie Wonder in some of the music there, some of the way it was moving. But that was a really enjoyable song. I even really like the way that distorted guitar came in a little bit heavier, like at the forefront of it, before moving into that more groovy direction there. And you still hear Stegmeyer on the bass popping off a little bit in the background there. Just a great album, huh? I don't believe in first impressions. For just this once, I hope that looks don't deceive. I ain't got time for true confessions. He doesn't have time for these first impressions. He doesn't have time for, you know, the whole, you know, hey, how you doing? Good, nice to meet you. My name's this. Your name's this. Okay, we're going through these. You know, we're doing the basic introduction. He doesn't have time for all that. He wants to get right to the meat. Take off the bread. Give me the pickle. Got to make the move right now. Got to meet that girl somehow. Get it right the first time. That's the main thing. I can't afford to let it pass. You get it right the next time. That's not the same thing. Gonna make the first time last. So he doesn't want that chance. He doesn't want to take the chance of meeting this person and the introduction goes wrong. He just wants the full story right then and there. He doesn't want a slice of pizza. He wants the whole pie. Then I might just have what it takes if I don't make no bad mistakes and I get it right the first time. I might find the courage, yeah, I might get up the nerve, but if my timing ain't just right, what purpose would that serve? And he ends it, the first few moments mean so much. He's not interested in those other times. He needs to get it right the first time. Leave nothing to second chance. And with that being said, let us go ahead and move ourselves to the final track here on the album, Billy Joel's The Stranger. Hope that you've enjoyed it. Hope that you've stuck around this far with me. We got one more to go on this absolutely brilliant journey, and that is going to be Everybody Has a Dream. Let's go ahead and let it run, and then we'll wake up at the end.
A cause for celebration,
Going to church this Sunday.
or a comfort I can use to. Everybody has a dream, and to be all alone.
So 2 minutes left. We're fading out, and we still have 2 minutes left on the track. Okay. That's cool. And that is The Stranger, ladies and gentlemen. That is the album. Listen, Everybody Has a Dream is this slow burn, walking uphill to the top of the mountain, hymn-inspired, gospel-inspired track, which is really appropriate to end the album on. I love that inspiration and the way it's used musically here. That organ is just ripping and roaring throughout, especially some of those zip-up moments where the organ whoop, zips up, and then the chorus, Billy Joel, he hits a little bit of a soul patch on this one, and he rings out very true, very inspiring. On this particular track, let's see if I can find it here, because it's a different person playing the organ here. It's going to be Richard T., who's playing the organ here. He was an American pianist and studio musician. He worked with a lot of people. George Benson. Oh, he worked on Give Me the Night. That's awesome. He's worked with Steve Gadd, Grover Washington Jr., Bernard Purdy. Let's see. How many other names? Hall & Oates. There you go. Aretha Franklin. Ringo Starr. Etta James. Oh, David Bowie. Peter Gabriel. He has worked with Peter Gabriel on So. Oh, and Sinead O'Connor. Eric Clapton. He's worked with a lot of people. Okay. Huge range of artists and bands that he's worked with. And I love his his organ playing here. Just very sharp, very inspiring, very motivational. Billy sounds absolutely great. He does not sound out of his depths whatsoever. He brings a certain bluesy soul into the music here with outstretched arms and a great delivery in the way that he sings here. Just brilliance. The harmonies from the choir that comes in. Come on. When he starts in those big moments, which are properly led into, because there's little spaces, and those powerful moments are really, really powerful, especially over the hill with that, with the choir there, which it looks like here on this particular track is going to be led. Oh, you got Patty Austin on here. Lonnie Groves, Gwen Guthrie, and Phoebe Snow performing those backing vocals there. Just absolutely brilliant. Just a really great way to end the album, to end a fantastic album, I should say. And that little reprisal of the opening and ending from the title track. Oh, that little loungy piano just kind of reflecting on the mood. That was a really nice choice there. while in these days of quiet desperation as I wander through the world in which I live. I search everywhere for some new inspiration, but it's more than cold reality can give. If I need a cause for celebration or a comfort I can use to ease my mind, I rely on imagination and I dream of an imaginary time. And I know that everybody has a dream, everybody has a dream. This is my dream, my own, just to be at home and to be all alone with you. So he says when he needs a pick-me-up, when he needs a place mentally to go for, security, and he wants to just kind of get away, what he does is he uses his imagination. What does he think about? He only thinks about spending time with his lover, just to be alone with them. Everyone else has their own dreams, but his dream is just to be with this person. If I believe in all the words I'm saying, and if a word from you can bring a better day, then all I have are these games that I've been playing to keep my hope from crumbling away. So let me lie and let me go on sleeping, and I will lose myself in palaces of sand. And I like that reference to the Sandman, sleeping, dreaming. Excuse me. And all the fantasies that I will be keeping will make the empty hours easier to stand, because he's thinking of this person in his dreaming hours and his moments. Says that the song was written in 1971. It is introspective in nature, as Joe's lyrics describe his attempts to rationalize and realize his dreams and fantasies, mainly for his dream for a happy home life with his then wife Elizabeth, who the song is likely addressed to in second person. And of course it rings in the ending from The Stranger. Just absolutely fantastic. Like really, really strong songwriting this whole way through. Great musicianship. Really love the piano playing in here. Drumming was especially inspiring here on the final track. This is just such a fun album. And actually, before I finish, while Mr. I forgot his name already. While the last track was played on the organ by Richard T., throughout the rest of this album, it seems like, has been played from Richie Kanata, who's also handles some saxophone, flute, and tuba, and clarinet. Really impressive. I mean, everyone was really impressive. I forgot to use his name, and I want to use his name there. Just really, really a great album to listen to, with a lot of diversity in the sounds, a lot of different moods, from exciting and party to laid back and a little bit more moody to romantic. And you had Dominic Cortez on the accordion. Really love the introduction and the use of the accordion there. Favorite tracks on the album before we finish off? I might go with the first two. Moving Out was just such a grooving track, and that chorus is still in my mind. I'm moving out. Dun, 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 dun. That was so good. And then I might have to just go with The Stranger. I really like The Stranger. And Just the Way You Are is like a core memory kind of favorite. So like that's already an in, for the race. So I might just go with the first three tracks, honestly. But the whole album was really, really stellar. Love that chorus and Moving Out, though. I'm moving out. Anyways, thank you so much as we begin to wrap up the video. This is all I can say. This right here, that's all I can say is thank you for joining me here on this moment. I appreciate you spending some time with me. I'm pretty sure it's at least been over an hour at this point, so I appreciate you cutting out that slice of the day from your pizza pie of your day for spending it with me. I really appreciate that. Of course, if you didn't at the beginning, and I implore you to do it now, press that like button. Helps me out a great deal. Press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'm sure that you have. If you've watched this far into like an hour-long video, you might as well just press that subscribe button. Of course, you can also support the channel, support what I do for as little as $2 a month over on Patreon. You do not have to. All it does is help me out in doing what I do here. But if you do, I appreciate that. Otherwise, please enjoy the rest of your day. Pursue your dream, whatever it may be, internal or external. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to end it right there on the external, external, internal thing. Why is it internal and not out? Have a wonderful day, guys. I will see you all later. Bye.